have this happen so soon. Back to you.
Oh, it's Rick. It's great. Yeah, well, 40 is good for this. My antenna's close to the ground, so it's a bit of what they call a cloud warmer. Most of the radiation's going straight up and straight down into Miller, Pennsylvania. That's terrific. Yeah, this is great. Now, do you have the rig in the box yet, or is it still lined up there on the workbench like in the pictures? And what microphone are you using, Rick? Go ahead.
No, it's still just as it is shown on the QRZ page, and I think I may have posted pictures on my website. Matter of fact, I'm also recording our QSO here with my iPhone onto a video, and I'll upload it to YouTube as soon as I can after this, so you get an idea of your signal. Oh yes, and you have to forgive me. I'm kind of new at this HF. In my mention my QRZ page. Back in the early 80s, after getting my ticket, was very active on 2-meter FM repeaters, and of course, as you know, that's an entirely different way of, at least back then, we didn't use, of course, signal codes and a lot of some Q codes. So let me see if I can practice my skill here. 5, that would be readability, and I can understand everything you're saying. And signal strength, since I don't have an S meter, I can only do this subjectively just by volume and the background noise. I'm thinking out of from 0 to 10, you're probably, I'm thinking a 7. So I would say your signal is 5.7. I might be wrong there. I don't know. Like I said, I'm new at this, so it's just a matter of practicing more. And so back to you.
You're doing great, Rick. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I think you and me and probably Pete may be the only 3 people, and Dean now, there's Dean, the only 3 people on the air without S meters. So we form an elite club here, Rick, but no S meters. And well, fantastic. I give you a 5.7 also, perfectly readable, nice sounding audio. It sounds really good. And but I always have to estimate how strong things are. If they're really strong, I'll give them a 5.9 plus or something like that. But it's just guesswork, and it's even guesswork if there is an S meter, because they're all calibrated differently, and some of them are calibrated not at all. So it's all a bit silly, but you're doing great. And wow, your first HF contact being made with your homebrew transceiver. That's really an accomplishment. That's the second time that's happened with us here. I don't know if you heard us mention on the podcast, but Dean, AZ9JQ, had a similar experience. But this is definitely the way to go, and it's a real thrill for me to be involved in. Now this is my 4th, I guess. No, my 3rd HB2HB contact. The first was with Pete. The second one was with Jeff in Wales. And now I'm talking to you, so this is great. I really like the look of your rig there, Jeff. I hope you realize what an accomplishment this is, and how very few radio amateurs ever build any kind of transceiver, much less a single sideband transceiver. So really, congratulations, N3FJZ, N2CQR.
N2CQR. N3FJZ. Oh yes, you asked a question about the microphone, and I'm kind of loosening up now, so I'm not as nervous. So maybe I can sound a little bit more intelligent. This microphone that I'm using is, I believe it's called an Electret. It's a microphone. Of course, we're very familiar with these. You see them in all the consumer gear. This particular microphone came from one of the Radio Shack wireless microphones that was produced back in, I believe, the 80s. And the reason I have this particular microphone, and matter of fact, let me get a video. I'm talking about it right now. So here is, of course, I'm moving away from it, but there's a picture of it on the video. I know you can't see it now, but essentially it's a little lapel mic that you clip on your lapel, and you would have a wireless mic. So what? At the time, my wife was involved in a band, and she played bass guitar, and one of the other band members wanted a way of playing the guitar wirelessly. So he looked at some of these wireless connections, for guitar, and they're way out of his price range. So he came to me, knowing I was kind of like the electronics geek in the neighborhood, and said, "Is there any way you can make a wireless mic, a wireless guitar, where we could have a 1/4-inch plug connected to the guitar?" And I looked through the Radio Shack catalog. I said, "Well, here's a wireless mic. I think what I can do is just remove the mic and put a 1/4-inch female jack on the unit, and it works." So I ended up with the microphone kind of as payment for the work, and I said, "Hey, this could come in handy someday." So I put it in my junk box. And so that's how I ended up with this. The actual microphone amplifier circuit is from Peter Parker. Yeah, Peter Parker's rigs. I think the Beach 40 uses this particular circuit, and so did his wireless, or not wireless Wonder, his knobless Wonder. And it's not the exact BitX circuit. It's different. It doesn't have an emitter resistor, or it doesn't have a base resistor to ground. Anyway, what I'm hopefully will do is eventually get much more content on my website, and I'm going to try to put this, get up on the website some of the same kind of stuff that you and Pete do. But basic, maybe my take of it. Say, here's my circuit. Here, let me release this to come up for some air here, and turn it back to you, and I'll have more to say.
All right, great. Well, that's terrific. And I'm really glad you got a bit of circuitry there from Peter Parker, BK3YE. That's always cool when you put some innovation in there, especially if it's something that comes from, a fellow home brewer on the other side of the planet, like Peter. So that's really cool. So you've got some interesting circuitry in there. And I think I saw you that you were using the SI 5351, and that's really great. So I think this may be the second time in human history that a rig with an SI 5351 was working another rig with an SI 5351. I just think about it. The first one may have been the contact that Pete and I had a few weeks ago. But this is definitely groundbreaking. And finally, electret mic. Yes, a really common device and very, very good. And I mean, if you look at the frequency response of those things, they're very flat, which is just what you need, and it gives you a real natural sound. And it sounds terrific. It sounds as good as any of those $10,000 ICOM rigs, Rick. And I used a similar microphone